call.
Councilman Munger,
Present.
Councilman Genzel,
Absent.
Councilman Keating,
Present.
Councilman Bales, or,
Yes.
sorry,
That's okay.
Councilman Boardway,
Present.
Supervisor Bales.
Here.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number two, item number one, we have no preliminary matters tonight. Item number two is the correction and adoption of minutes from October 4th, 2017. Council.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Had the opportunity to review the minutes from the October 4th, 2017 meeting. Certainly seen proper correction, require no additions, deletions, or changes, and I move they be adopted.
I'll second.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Keating,
Yes.
Councilman Boardway,
Yes?
Supervisor Bales,
Yes.
carried.
Item number two is the consideration of all fund bills. Councilman Keating.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I've had the opportunity to review all the bills for this evening. Total bills on the abstract total $141,369.38, and I make a motion to approve those bills.
I'll-
Go ahead. Second.
I'll second that.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Keating,
Yes.
Councilman Boardway,
Yes?
Supervisor Bales,
Yes.
carried.
Item number three, there's some correspondence. We have correspondence tonight from David and Donna Russell.
Certainly.
Mrs. Russell asked us if we could read her letter at this point. Councilman.
Certainly, and what this has to do with is a ZBA, zoning board of appeals decision. The correspondence, I'll simply read it verbatim here, because I didn't know I was doing that. It's regarding petition number 506, Gorney's Pool on Fairlane Drive. It's dear zoning board of appeals members, specifically Catherine Pajacalo, Tracy Hirsch, Courtney Lee, and Robert Woodring. It seems that after speaking to two land use / zoning law attorneys at different practices, a code enforcement officer from another town, a Boston Town Board member, and many others, that you, the zoning board of appeals, have made an erroneous decision in allowing Gorney's the variance for their pool. The two attorneys we spoke with said we could win our case easily if we filed an Article 78 proceeding, but it would be costly. And, the investment would only give us the satisfaction of knowing that a wrong decision was made. After reading the minutes of the June 1st public hearing, one of the attorneys said Donna said he never saw anything like it and could not believe that with the negative comments in your discussion with Joe Gorney and Joe stating that he would be okay with the 21-foot pool he purchased without needing a variance, and the variance was granted. Did you not understand our letter? Did any of you even think about what was on the other side of that property line? Our house is not centered on the property. The pool is 17 feet from our house. Our survey along with Gorney should have been included with the public hearing notice so that you can see where our house and bedroom is. The pertinent information was withheld, and it's a 10-foot backyard setback, not a 10-foot side yard setback that we are speaking about. No one came into our yard and saw it from our point of view. So while it's a nice night and you are sitting on your patio porch deck enjoying the evening, maybe relaxing, chatting about your day, or reading a book, please think of us. With shouting, music turned up, public urination, and foul language from our neighbor's house next door. And feel free to take a walk / ride and hear / see it for yourself, or ask any of our other neighbors. So you made one family in Boston so ecstatic that they sing and clap. You also made one family who has been in the same house in Boston for 33 years unhappy and hurt. If you left it at 10 feet and there is no reason, and there is a reason the code is 10 feet, both families would have dealt with it fine. We do not want to sell or move. We want or wanted to retire in this house, but moving now may be our only option. Please slow down and think. Take the time, do your homework, listen to all parties before you make such important decisions. The decision you make can severely affect residents for many years to come, and it is signed sincerely Donna Russell and David Russell. Copied to the town of Boston, Supervisor Martin Bell.
Thank you. At this time, I gotta jump down to new business. Item number 1 on new business is public hearing for 7:40 PM, 2018 on a preliminary budget. And make a motion to open the floor up for any comments on the 2018 preliminary budget. And make a motion to open the floor for any comments on the 2018 preliminary budget. Please come up to the mic, state your name, address as usual, but I make a motion.
Second the motion.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Keating,
Yes.
Councilman Boardway,
Yes.
Supervisor Gallo,
Yes.
carried.
And Mr. Supervisor, recognizing that no one has comments to be made regarding the public hearing for the preliminary budget, I make a motion that the public hearing be
Yeah, I do,
closed.
I do.
I'm sorry, you're a little slow on the draw there.
Joanne Bond there, is this on? Yep.
Thank you.
What is the balance of the budget? How much money is left in the account for general purposes for the 2018? What will be left
In
in
which
the
account?
discretionary funds?
In the general fund or
General
all of
fund.
them combined?
No, the general fund, like where you draw money from that will be left over. And will there be any tax increases this year to make up for anything?
Well, no, there's no tax increase. And what's left in it after the preliminary budget was put in, 1.1 million.
And that's everything?
No, that's in the general fund.
That's in the general fund?
That doesn't include highways, special water districts, ambulance, fires, reserve.
Do you
funds.
see any major expenditures coming up in the next year or two?
I don't see any. I had the opportunity to meet with department heads. I met with Councilman Keating 4 times on this, going through it. We tried to project anything that we foreseen as major expenses for the town. Obviously, we can't include natural disasters or anything like that that happens within the town, but we did foresee any big major expenses.
Overall, for large expenses, I guess it really depends on what you would classify as a large expense. But as far as, planned projects of large scale nature, I guess I'll say, there's nothing that's in front of us at the board level.
Any kind of 18 Mile Creek water fixing? Any
There-
kind of
there-
drainage
so there-
fixing?
There is,
There is discussion about that, Joanne. We are working out of the budget that I still currently have, though. And we are not necessarily specifically talking about anything for next year, but, I mean, it's always a concern. It's the 18 Mile Creek.
But just so you know about the 18 Mile Creek, there are DEC regulations, Erie County Water Erosion Regulations, state regulations, county regulations, before we come in. And basically, to do work in the 18 Mile Creek, they only let us, at this point, they won't let us dredge it, they won't let us pretty much do anything to it. Any bank erosion that comes in usually comes in through Erie County Water and Erosion, which is covered through theirs. Other than
Just minor cleanup.
Just clean up and getting rid of debris piles, which
Yeah, we have a
myself
few.
and Zach are working on right now to stop flooding, you know. What it does is, what we get in the 18 Mile, everybody says, you know, is trees fall, and they tend to build up in one spot. Councilman Munger has pointed them out to me.
We're in the
He
process
asked
of
me to help him
getting
out with
bids,
something,
yeah.
so we're getting bids, working together to clean up some of them. We've done it before, it'll be a constant through the years to do, but those are not big projects.
And legally, we're not even allowed to move a tree out of the creek. We have to do that a certain way also, that be caught up and floated out, there's all kinds of things. Your question is a little confusing, I guess, now that you've gone down this path, is do we have anything planned, or do we have a wish list?
No, is there any planned major expenditures?
There's nothing particularly planned, but we
Okay.
certainly, the board has a wish list. The wish list extends from everything from 18 Mile Creek to some of the town roads that are our problem that we have to take care of, to doing some work on those. EMS has concerns with respect to the need for some defibrillators and some updating of equipment there. There's funding issues with respect to the fireman's pension, the fireman's length of service plan. So we have a wish list and we have things that are planned. To answer your question perfectly, there's nothing particular planned. We have a wish list, the funds will be allocated as best they can.
Several years ago, and I don't remember what year it was, there was a line item put out for a Boston Senior Center, and it has since disappeared. Is that going to be on the horizon anytime soon? I know that there are other localities like that are looking into doing that.
If you recall what that was back then, is that was one of the potential uses that we discussed for the prior trooper barracks
Yes.
right next door. That building has since been renovated to be used by rec. We also let the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, the Snowmobile Club, other groups use it. It's not a particularly usable building for the seniors, because to make that particular building handicap accessible, ADA compliant, and all the things with even just the restrooms alone make it cost prohibitive. So that's why it was never turned into a senior center per se. Plus, if you recall, we had polled the two different senior groups back at the time informally. Marty walking in there on Friday afternoon, myself walking in there on a lunch meeting. And they're perfectly happy with the facilities they have downstairs.
But that's only a small group of the seniors in town.
There's two, right, there's,
Yeah,
well,
but
they're
that's
all,
a very
it's available
small-
for all of them,
Yeah,
anybody
it's
can
small.
join those.
Yeah, but
either
it's a
of those
small
two senior
percentage of the seniors.
But the kitchen facilities are downstairs, everything they seem to need and require are available downstairs. So the decision was made to use that more for summer rec and the rec program instead. Again, the main factor being it was cost prohibitive to make that particular building ADA compliant and a reasonably accessible building for the senior groups.
Okay, and one more question. What is, I don't know if this has to do with the budget, there might be monies put out for it as far as attorney fees. The property that is still under consideration at the corner of Cole and Omphalius, what is the status of that? And does that have any input on the 2018 budget?
That has no input on the 2018 budget. That property is still in the courts.
Yes, that litigation is still going on, it's still in front of the Fourth Department. We expect a decision probably November 9th or November, I think.
Of this year?
Yes.
And don't forget, the town does not own the property, that is not our property. The town has expended money at the taxpayers and the citizens' request to fight the placement of the, whatever facility the state wants, or whatever tag they want to put on that up there, a group home or whatever. We all know the truth, we know who they want to put in that house if they build it, but we don't own it, so we're not going to spend any money on that, but we are spending money defending it. We don't want it there. We've said that clearly. That decision is pending in front of the court, as the town attorney stated.
And that amount I can look up on some budget line, how much we've spent so far?
I would believe so.
Don't come up with a bunch of money, you actually have to foil the numbers, what we spent for it.
Yeah, come under professional services,
Yeah.
Under professional services?
Yeah.
But going forward, if it did get passed, that would have to come out of the budget, as far as extra services.
Well, professional services aren't subject to a competitive bidding process, so essentially it's an expense that continues on.
You mean for services for servicing the
For
facility?
servicing the facility.
And the only servicing the facility we'd have to do is fire, ambulance, plowing the roads. So it wouldn't be a line in the budget.
It'd be a privately run facility. It's
Privately
owned.
owned.
It's owned
But
by a
that could
private-
impact those services, some were done one.
Well, that's part of our fight.
Well-
Interestingly enough, that is part of
Yeah.
our fight that's before the court right
The
now.
the stipulations,
Yeah.
we're here for everybody, but I'll give you a quick. The stipulations set forth by them stipulates certain things they're looking for within the town.
Right.
Easy access to banking facilities, restaurants, stores, employment, and that's what the town was saying, it doesn't fit that, plus the lot size and everything. So, but that's no different than somebody building a new house in town, that they're gonna get the same services as that house would get. Plowing, ambulance, fire, no different.
But part of our fight, again, I want to reiterate this and make it perfectly clear, is that facility up there will be tax-free. They will be tax exempt. They will not have to pay what you pay for your house right down the street,
Right.
okay? They get a free pass.
So-
And that is part of our defense to why we don't think that group home belongs in the town of Boston. They will use our services, they will use our EMS, and proportionately, unfortunately, and this is a fact, we can pull up the statistics if I had to, the group homes in the town of Boston require more EMS and more firematic services than a normal residence does. So their cost ratio is higher than your house or
No,
my
yeah,
house.
I realize that.
So that's all the stuff we're fighting.
Not
But
that
they're
we're
not gonna
against
have to pay taxes
one in our,
if they do build.
in our town, we're against the location where they put it in the town.
Right.
Okay, one more thing, like you were saying, there
And
was,
as you said, expenses, no. The only thing I could talk to these gentlemen sitting up here, and myself and Councilman Keating had some extensive things. It's not big ticket price expenses that the generator for the building we felt would be necessary since we do use this and it's designated as a natural disaster rate, putting a backup generator on it. And we did talk about doing a central server for the building too. So
This
those are
building?
For this
Yes.
building.
okay, now, is that wish list also online, or are you, I mean?
No, that's
No.
just, no.
No, okay, thank you.
Anybody else at this point?
No, I thought you were just more stuff.
Okay, I make a motion to close the floor.
Second?
Councilman Munker?
Yes.
Councilman Keating?
Yes.
Councilman Ford.
Yes.
Supervisor Gallo?
Yes.
Carried.
Public notice was also in the paper. Public notice read as Town of Boston notice of hearing upon preliminary budget. Notice is hereby given that the tentative budget of the Town of Boston for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2008 has been completed and filed in the office of the town clerk where it is available for inspection by any interested person during regular office hours. Further notice is hereby given that the Boston Town Board will hold a public hearing and review said preliminary budget at the Boston Town Hall, 8500 Boston State Road, at 7:40 p.m. Eastern Prevailing Time on November 1st, 2017. And at such hearing, any person may be heard for or against the preliminary budget as compiled or the items contained therein in pursuit of Section 103 of Town Law. The proposed salaries of the following elected town officers are supervisor $31,854, town clerk $45,000, councilman $8,500, highway superintendent $65,633, two town justices $17,273. An exemption report is available, dated October 19, 2017, published October 20, 2017, by the order of the town board, by town clerk Dawn M. Bonko.
Yeah.
Yes.
We should let her know. Just front row, right?
Thank you. So tonight, I present the 2018 preliminary budget. This is my 8th consecutive budget, which decreases, actually this one stays exactly the same, which no tax increase rate for the general or highway funds. We have completed much needed improvements on our buildings through this year with the help of the town board. We've completed a lot of additions in the parks and parking lots with the help of the town board. Going through that, we are continuing annually improving the grounds for the residents to enjoy. We've also worked with Highway and their department to improve these facilities on drainage, grading and all our football fields, soccer fields, 2 town parks. It has been a general of everybody getting their hands into it and working together as a team. We've been working on some drainage issues in town. We've completed some other drainage issues in town. We will keep working on the secondary issues that impact the residents of the town, be on private property or town property or county property. We'll keep moving forward on those things. We've made some other improvements in the town that the town board seen fit on some of our other facilities that are in the town. And we're working on some grants still for the north end of town on Meadow Drive to put up a take down the old concession stand, put up new bathrooms in a new area for the kids, because we started baseball back in that park and we really have more leagues than we anticipated using in that park. But overall, I could say the 2007-18 went good with a lot of projects that were completed in our town. So tonight we represent that. So tonight we're going to do a schedule of salaries of elected officials for the town of Boston. 2018 salaries are as listed. Supervisor, $31,854. Councilman, $8,500 for each councilman. Town clerk, $45,000. Town justice, $17,273. Second town justice, $17,273. And highway superintendent, $65,633. I make the motion to approve those set salaries.
I'll second.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Keating,
Yes.
Councilman Boardway,
Yes.
Supervisor Gallo,
Yes.
carried.
I would apologize for that. So this year, we went through the town budget, met with all the town boards, met with highway, we're doing the contract that's on here tonight. So the tax rate in the town of Boston stays exactly the same for every resident. We've been able to accomplish that over the last 8 years of being up here, continuously looking how the town spends money, how they spend money, where they spend money, how can we improve it, how can we improve our facilities so it lessens the burden of the expenditure of money, make them more efficient, as in our lighting and other things that we've done in the town. So the rate stays the same. The levy is a little bit higher this year, only because we have, obviously, more buildings in town. The assessor went through the assessor roll, made sure stuff was assessed properly. And I think the number, and correct me wrong if I'm wrong, Councilman Keating, I know you're all jotting it downstairs, everybody. It is, we could have raised the taxes up $120,000 through the town and still stayed under the cap of what the state recommends, so everybody gets their checks back during the year. But we stayed under $120,000. I think it was raised $22,000, and that was due to the levy, but it still offset it. That basically the town has money coming in, more coming in than it's expending. So we were able to keep the tax rate the same for the town and residents of Boston, so which is a plus. So put it in a little bit easier terms. So I make a motion at this time to accept the 2018 budget for the town of Boston.
And with that, I would enjoy making that second motion for that. That budget right there fulfills a commitment that was made 8 years ago by Mr. Gallo and myself and Mr. Genzel, that there would be no tax increases while we were in office, and that is happening right now. So I make that second.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Keating?
You know, the supervisor and I've had quite a few discussions, as he said. I'm not necessarily 100% against or for the budget. I have my own concerns based on some of the training with the state comptroller. I'm not saying I'm going to be raising taxes. That seems to be a political scenario that continues to come up and haunt me. I'm not saying raise taxes, but I'm saying accurately reflect where your tax dollar is going. There's line items on the budget that reflect $0. Anybody can foil it, anybody can look at it. But again, it's the way that money's appropriated, which is the reason that I'm going to vote no this evening.
Councilman Boardway?
Yes.
Supervisor Ballo?
Yes. Councilman, which areas were you looking at? Because me and you are the only ones who met through with this budget where
It's the same concerns that I had with parks. It's the same, essentially it's the equipment replacement. If we know that there's a planned or upcoming expense, the money should be reflected in there. I mean, there's ways, as we discussed, to pay for those funds. However, from the state comptroller trainings that I have, if you know there's a planned expense, it should be accurately reflected in the budget to show that instead of $0 on the line.
Well, I feel that, and I can appreciate your thoughts on it, but we go through department to department and ask what their needs are. And if we don't see any expenses, we still put some in there for equipment. We put 10,000 in the Parks Department, knowing we gotta sell some tractors and get rid of them to come compliance with a few things. But there is also the, I guess to explain to everybody, that when a department or a liaison or a position doesn't use all their money, it goes back into the general fund. Those general funds then can be, we can appropriate money into if we need a tractor or we need work done or we need somewhere else, we can do a transfer line from the general fund. That money is still there, still sitting there, and as everybody sees, Town of West Seneca is asking for a 12% raise. Town Hamburg's getting a raise, everybody's getting a raise in their taxes. We unfortunately have been the opposite. And we've been the opposite because we watched how our dollars and cents, we have $1.1 million in our reserves. We have reserves in every single water district in this town. We have reserves in ambulance, we have reserves in, we have, I think the number in highway, 800 and
800 and, close not here, off the top of my head,
Yeah.
I'd say it's like
$800,000.
$72,000.
So we have reserves that offset taxes, we build those reserves to buy equipment, we build those reserves to do things. I unfortunately feel that you watch your dollars and cents and what you don't use goes back in the kitty. I don't want to keep asking people for money when you don't need it. I feel that you work within your limits of what you bring in and you appropriate it correctly. I've always felt that way. I will feel that way till I finish, and I'll feel that way after I'm not here anymore, that you don't spend more than you make. And I don't want to ask taxpayers for money in times when two families are working, they're putting their kids through school and other things. I can understand what he's saying about putting more reserves in that. I'm not disagreeing with him. There should be more reserves and build up the
It's
reserves.
actually not reserves, it's just the accurate forecasting. So if you take a rolling average of let's say a 3 to 5 year rolling average, you'd be able to forecast and plan the
Right.
town's overall expenses, which
Well,
isn't current. I'll be honest, it's not there. If you
we don't do, towns typically will not do 3 to 5 years. They don't know what they're gonna run into if a plow breaks down. We just found out of equipment, I'm not disagreeing with you, that it's good to have a forecast plan on it. Unfortunately, that we've always fortunately done it, that we look what the needs are and we move forward with it.
And I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying it's a different
No.
it's a different
Oh,
mindset.
absolutely.
That's based
And I
on training
can-
from the New
I
York
can
State
appreciate
Comptroller,
that.
which
I
goes on
appreciate
all its
that.
communities.
I appreciate that, but typically, you know,
Mr. Supervisor, if I may ask, how much, other than the water districts, how much debt does the town of Boston have?
we don't have any.
Gee, we don't have any
We
debt.
don't- we don't.
Mr. Highway Superintendent, how much debt was the highway fund 8 years ago?
Well, when I started 13 years ago, 822,000 something in debt, I believe it was. And today, well, for the last 2-3 years, we've been debt-free.
Debt-free.
And now we got an equipment reserve of like 80-some thousand that we've saved up to buy a new truck for next year. So
Correct.
even with buying a new truck, with our CHIPS money and our reserve money, we should not have to raise taxes in the highway department buying a new truck that it costs approximately $150,000.
Perfect, excellent, thank you. So the highway superintendent exhausted $800,000 in this. So the town of Boston is paying cash, is debt-free, and hasn't raised taxes in 8 years, and somehow that's a bad thing?
I'm not saying that,
Okay.
I'm not saying raise taxes.
Then you've said enough. Thank
Well,
you.
no,
You
I-
say, I'm not saying raise taxes, but if you look at the fleet of the trucks that we have, that eventually, because they have not been cycled out for the state comptroller's cycle, if you look at the overall cost that it will cost every single taxpayer sitting in this room and others, those trucks have to be replaced at some point in time. If you get to a point where they cannot be repaired, if they do not pass inspection or otherwise, yes, that is an expense that will be coming on the back of the taxpayer at some point in time. They have not been cycled out.
$800,000
Well,
reserve fund. Can you do that? Okay.
We are cycling one out this year. I'm sure everybody heard of that, and we are getting trucks out of here. But, you know, the town is financially in really good shape, really good shape. And it's a group effort. It's a group effort from everybody who works at this building to do it. And that's important. And although we all have different philosophies, every man who sits up there, every woman who has sat up there, everybody will have a different philosophy on stuff.
Yeah,
But-
Mr. Supervisor, you know, if I could just remind the board, this town also has a AAA rating, one of the highest municipal bond ratings in the state because of its debt-free nature, and that helped us to finance the water project at very low percent, 2%, 2.5%.
Yep.
And that's because the town is debt-free, and that allows us to borrow money at a very cheap rate, which passed along to everybody that has water, you know, enjoys water in this town.
Yep, not only that, we also did away with, and I talked to the councilman before about this, we did away with bonding in this town. We used to bond out big projects we did. Bonding cost every year for the town to redo those bondings, anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 in attorney's fees every single year. We don't do that anymore. I think the last time we bought a tractor was for highway, the backhoe and front loader there, that we paid cash for. We did the Buy America bonds for the water districts. I want to say up on East Hill, that water district got switched to Buy America bonds, saved the tax, those people in that water district saved close to $1 million that they did not have to pay that because we did the Buy America bonds. These things are important to keep doing, to save money and put it into the fund so we can do these projects or wish lists, as people call it, everything, and put away in reserves. Could more money be put away in certain reserves? I'm not disagreeing with Councilman Keeney, absolutely. There's always room for improvement to put away more money in reserves for unseen things. But that's also why our general fund is there, so we can do line transfers to it, and put into those reserves too. So it kind of balances each other out. But I'm proud, 8 years of not raising taxes, 8 years of improvements, 8 years of working with some really incredible people that have sat up on this board.